Hi, I'm Lawrence Brown, producer and director of Shambhala Studio. I'm coming to you from Shambhala Studio's Retreat Center. And here we have our special Lakhang, or shrine room, for the 8 manifestations of the Lotus-Born Master, Guru Padmasambhava. And recently, I've been talking about how Shambhala Studio is making the shift from documentary films to feature films, particularly sci-fi films. Now, let me tell you, we're going to continue doing documentaries, but why we're also doing sci-fi films is to reach a broader audience. And in the last talk, I was telling you about our new film, Lotus-Born Master, the Shambhala Access Code, in which I play the Himalayan explorer that I am. I'm acting myself, and together with John Chang, who is an actor and stunt performer, martial artist. He's the chief agent. The agency in Matrix style has arrested me, and they're questioning me, and then they begin a series of tortures. And a lot of people have seen this and go, what are you doing? Are you trying to be the Tarantino of Buddhism with all this violence? And actually, the meaning behind each of these tortures or each of these experiences is actually layered. Again, we like to do our movies in a way in which we have many layers of meaning in it, and you have to decipher those layers to be able to come to the inner meaning that you yourself can reflect upon in thinking about the totality of awareness within our universe. And so the first point is the tortures. Okay, so if we think about Chöd, this ritual in which we offer our body, we offer our blood, we offer everything to the ghosts, to the other spheres. In a way, it's actually a ritual of destroying the self, the ego, or attachment to one's own self, in the realization that there is no permanence. Nothing is permanent. We are not permanent. We are always changing. And we will leave this world dimension the same way we came in, suddenly. And therefore, to have this realization of non-attachment to oneself, but to commit one's inner compassion to all things, to all sentient beings. This is the message of the Chöd ritual that was taught by Padmasambhava and Machi Labrong, and became, of course, a very important part of Tibetan Buddhist ritual. It's also the same ritual of the Last Supper of Jesus Christ, when he gave his body and blood. And these rituals actually have deep connectivity. I strongly believe there was great connection between the Middle East and India and the Himalayas at that time. You know, the Silk Road ran through this whole area, and of course the Silk Road was a major transport system. It was the economy for about 1,000 years. And therefore, there was a lot of interaction. Today, with all of our cell phones and all of our gadgets and appliances, we may be more disconnected today from each other than people were then, because they actually spent time together. When one traveled from one place to another, they immersed in that culture. They shared their culture and brought back that culture with them when they left. Those trips may have been made once or twice in a lifetime, but in fact, those were much deeper experiences than what we have today. I mean, the most common thing is you go out to dinner with your friends and everybody's on their cell phone looking at some stupid app or some video or some violent game. And so, there's total disconnect despite all the so-called connectivity. So back to the Chöd ritual, back to the torture. So of course, we're trying to basically disconnect from our own attachment to self. And again, each of these tortures or each of these scenes, you have a different element. There's light, there's sound, there's touch, there's water, there's, each of the different elements of our sensory perception system is there. And in each case, when we are unable to perceive or able to realize, the dakini appears. And each time the dakini saves the explorer, pulls him out from the state of unawareness or state of confusion or state of pain that he's in as a result of this torture. So this is actually, in many ways, if we wanted to use kind of Renaissance language, a kind of great morality play playing out before us. And what we're doing in the film is we're using very modern, sci-fi type images to create this sensation for us. And we're also connecting the traditions of the Lotus-Born master, of Tibetan Buddhism, with what's happening today. Because one of the things is we are confused. We're confused not only on the level often of our own perceptions and illusions, but certainly the politics, the financial policy, the economics that has created huge confusion today because of the egos of certain powerful forces and people who actually are controlling, manipulating people. The rest of us are lost. And to try and have a greater awareness, we can pierce through those misunderstandings and realize where we're going, what's happening to us, and why it's happening to us. And that is the purpose of this film, to be able to connect the teachings to very pragmatic aspects of our frustrations and our illusions, if we want to call it, our perceived realities, the illusions around us, or delusions around us today, which are being evolving from the politics, from the short-sightedness, from the anger, and from really, the ignorance, the greed that is driving these systems that we have as humanity created, that in many ways we have to maybe reset or completely reconstitute to create a Shambhala, or to have the access code to Shambhala, and to be able to get out of this age of Kali, or self-destruction, and enter into an age which can really be more sustainable for all of us and for the planet together. That is the meaning behind the Shambhala access code.